Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Easy English Podcast. I'm James, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. In this episode, we're going to do something very special. We are going to learn English through a story. A complete, exciting story, told just for you. Now, you might be thinking, a story? But my English is not perfect. Don't worry. This story is created for English learners. I will speak slowly and clearly. We will use simple words and sentences. And throughout the story, I will stop naturally to explain the most important vocabulary. You will understand everything. But that's not all. I have a little secret for you. At the end of this story, I will reveal a hidden truth about one of the characters, a truth that changes everything. You will only discover it if you listen until the very end. So, get ready for a journey. Get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin our story together. Our story begins in a small, quiet town named Green Valley. It was the kind of town where everyone knew each other. Nothing exciting ever happened there. In this town lived a young woman named Clara. She was kind, smart, and she loved history. She worked in the local library, a peaceful place full of old books. One rainy afternoon, Clara was cleaning a dusty, old room in the library's basement. It was a room nobody had visited in years. Behind an old bookshelf, she found a small, metal box. It was locked, and it looked very, very old. Clara was curious. What was inside this box? Why was it hidden? She took the box to her desk. With a little effort, she managed to open it. Inside, she didn't find gold or jewels. She found something different, an old, handwritten letter and a mysterious, antique key. The letter was difficult to read, but she could understand one phrase clearly: find the clock that has lost its time. Clara was confused. What did it mean? What clock? And why was it lost? She knew this was the beginning of a mystery. She decided to find the answers. This was no longer a normal day in Green Valley. This was the start of a real adventure. Clara knew she needed help. She decided to visit the oldest person in Green Valley, a kind man named Mr. Perkins, who had lived in the town his whole life. He was 80 years old and remembered many stories about the town's history. Maybe he knew something about the mysterious key and the letter. She walked through the quiet streets of Green Valley, holding the key tightly in her hand. When she arrived at Mr. Perkins' small, cozy house, he welcomed her with a warm smile. Clara showed him the key and the old letter. Mr. Perkins put on his glasses and looked at the key carefully. His eyes opened wide. "This is incredible," he said slowly. "I haven't seen a key like this in over 50 years. He explained that the key belonged to a very special clock, the old clock in the town square. But that clock hadn't worked for decades. People called it the clock that lost its time. Clara felt excited. This was the first clue. Mr. Perkins told her a story his grandfather had told him. Many years ago, the town clock was not just for telling time. It had a secret compartment, a hidden space inside it. The first mayor of Green Valley, a man named Arthur Green, used it to hide important town documents. But when the clock broke, people forgot about the secret. Clara thanked Mr. Perkins and walked quickly to the town square. There it was, a big, beautiful, but very old clock in the center of the square. It was silent and covered in dust. Nobody looked at it anymore. Clara's heart was beating fast. She needed to find a way to get inside the clock, but how? It was very high, and she was just a librarian. As she stood there, looking at the clock, she noticed something strange. There was a small, almost invisible hole at the bottom of the clock tower. It was the same size and shape as her key. This was the moment of truth. Would the key work? She looked around to make sure nobody was watching, then slowly, carefully, she put the key into the hole. And now, let's pause our story for a moment to learn some important English words from this part. This will help you understand the story even better. The first word is managed to. This means you succeeded in doing something that was difficult. Clara managed to open the box. It was not easy, but she did it. The second word is antique. This means something that is very old and often valuable. The key was an antique key. It was not a modern key. Another important word is compartment. This is a small, separate section or space inside something larger. A briefcase can have compartments. The clock had a secret compartment. And the last word for this part is dusty. This means covered in dust, which is the fine, dry powder that gathers on surfaces that nobody cleans. The old room in the basement was very dusty. Now you know these words, you can understand even more of our story. But what happened when Clara turned the key? Did the secret compartment open? We will discover that in just a moment. Clara turned the key slowly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, she heard a soft click. A small, hidden door at the base of the clock tower opened silently. Her hands trembled with excitement as she reached inside the dark space. What would she find? Would it be the documents Mr. Perkins mentioned? Inside, her fingers touched something cold and metallic. It wasn't papers. It was another key. But this one was different, older, heavier, and it had a strange symbol carved into it. Below the key was another note, written in the same handwriting as the first letter. It said, "The true time is kept where the stories rest." Clara sat back on her heels, thinking hard. Where the stories rest. What could that mean? As a librarian, her mind immediately went to books, to the library. But that seemed too obvious. Suddenly, she remembered something. In the oldest section of the library, there was a special collection of historical diaries and journals, the recorded stories of the townspeople. Could that be where the stories rested? She rushed back to the library, her heart full of hope. The rain had stopped, and the evening sun was beginning to set. The library was quiet and empty now. She went straight to the restricted section, a place that needed a special key to enter. She usually used her modern key, but this time, she wondered if the antique key from the clock would work. With a deep breath, she inserted it into the old lock on the wooden door. To her amazement, it turned smoothly. The door creaked open, revealing a room she thought she knew well. But now, with this new clue, she saw it with different eyes. She needed to find where the true time was kept among all these resting stories. Now, let's learn some new words from this part of our adventure. The first phrase is reached inside. This means to put your hand into a space to find something. Clara reached inside the dark compartment. The next word is trembled. It means to shake slightly, often because of excitement, fear, or cold. Her hands trembled with anticipation. Another good word is carved. This means to cut a shape or letters into a hard material. The symbol was carved into the metal key. And finally, restricted. A restricted area is a place where not everyone is allowed to go. The library had a restricted section for old books. With these words, you can follow Clara's search even better. But what will she find in this secret room? The answer is closer than she thinks. The restricted section was filled with the smell of old paper and wood. Clara walked slowly between the tall bookshelves, her eyes searching for anything related to time or clocks. And then she saw an ancient, large book about the history of timekeeping. It seemed too obvious, but when she pulled the heavy book from the shelf, she noticed something peculiar. The book next to it, a simple-looking diary with a worn green cover, had a small clock symbol etched into its spine. Her heart beat faster. This had to be it. She carefully took the green diary and opened it. Inside, she found more than just written stories. The pages were filled with beautiful drawings of sundials, hourglasses, and clocks. And tucked between the pages was a fragile, yellowed map of the library itself, with one specific spot marked by a small drawing of a key. The map pointed to a section Clara knew very well, the children's reading corner, where a large, comfortable old armchair always sat in the same spot. She had read stories to children in that corner for years. Could the true time be kept there? It seemed like the most unlikely place in the entire library. She walked to the children's corner, her mind racing. The old armchair looked ordinary, but when she gently moved it, she saw that one of the floorboards beneath it looked different. It wasn't nailed down like the others. This was it. This was where the stories truly rested, and where a secret was kept. Now, let's learn some very useful words from this part of our story. The first word is worn. This means damaged or looked old because of long use. The diary had a worn green cover. The next word is etched. Similar to carved, it means to cut a pattern or words into a surface. The clock symbol was etched into the book's spine. Another great word is fragile. This means easily broken or damaged. The yellowed map was very fragile. And finally, spot. In this context, it means a particular place or location. The map pointed to a specific spot in the library. You are doing so well learning these words and following our story. But what is under that loose floorboard? The mystery is about to be solved. With careful hands, Clara lifted the loose floorboard. The space underneath was dark and smelled of old wood. She reached in, her fingers brushing against something smooth and cool. It was a small, beautifully crafted wooden box, much older than the metal one she had found in the basement. This box wasn't locked. She lifted the lid slowly, the old hinges making a soft creaking sound. Inside, she didn't find treasure in the way you might think. There were no gold coins or shiny jewels. Instead, she found a bundle of old letters tied with a faded ribbon and a single, small, very old pocket watch. The watch had stopped working long ago, its hands frozen at a specific time, 3 o'clock. But why was this so important? Clara untied the ribbon and began to read the first letter. It was written by the town's founder, Arthur Green, to his daughter. The letter revealed a secret that made Clara's eyes widen. Arthur Green hadn't just been the first mayor, he had been a master clockmaker. And he had hidden his greatest creation, a unique mechanism, not for wealth, but to protect it. The letters told a story of a man who loved time and stories more than money. He believed that the true treasure of Green Valley was its history and its people. He hid his final invention, waiting for someone curious and patient enough to find it. Clara realized this was far bigger than she had imagined. This wasn't just a simple mystery, it was the hidden heart of the town itself. Now, let's explore the key vocabulary from this exciting discovery. The first word is loose. This means not firmly fixed in place. The floorboard was loose, so Clara could move it. The next word is hinges. These are the metal pieces that allow a door or lid to swing open and closed. The lid of the box had old hinges that creaked. Another important word is crafted. This means made skillfully, often by hand. The wooden box was beautifully crafted. And finally, bundle. This means a collection of things tied together. She found a bundle of letters tied with a ribbon. You're learning so many useful words. But what was Arthur Green's greatest creation? And what does the stop pocket watch mean? The biggest revelation is still to come. Clara picked up the small pocket watch. As she held it, she noticed something remarkable. On its back, the same symbol from the key was delicately engraved. But more importantly, the letters explain everything. Arthur Green's greatest creation wasn't a single clock, it was a unique mechanism designed to synchronize all the public clocks in Green Valley, ensuring the entire town shared one accurate time, a symbol of unity. The watch had stopped at 3:05, the exact time he had passed away. He had hidden the master mechanism that controlled the town clock, wanting someone worthy to find it and restore not just the time, but the spirit of the town. The true time was never about hours and minutes, it was about legacy, community, and remembering where you came from. Clara felt a deep sense of responsibility. She wasn't just a librarian finding an old secret, she was now the keeper of Green Valley's true history. She decided her first task would be to find a skilled clockmaker to restore the old town clock in the square, using Arthur Green's original plans, which were carefully detailed in the letters. The treasure was the story itself, and it was more valuable than any gold. Let's pause here to learn the final words of our story. They are very meaningful. The first word is remarkable. This means unusual or surprising in a way that people notice. It was a remarkable discovery. The next word is engraved. This means to cut words or designs into a hard surface. The symbol was engraved on the watch. Another important word is synchronize. This means to cause things to happen or operate at the same time or rate. The mechanism was meant to synchronize all the clocks. And the last word is legacy. This is something passed down from previous generations. Arthur Green's legacy was his love for the town. You have now learned many new words with our story. But remember the secret I promised at the beginning? The hidden truth is that the real treasure was never lost gold. It was the town's forgotten history, waiting for a curious heart like Clara's to rediscover it. And so, my friends, we have reached the end of our story. Clara didn't find gold or silver, but she found something much more valuable, a connection to the past and a purpose for the future. She discovered that the greatest treasures are often the stories we preserve and the history we remember. Today, you did something amazing. You listened to a complete story in English. You learned new words like antique, compartment, and legacy. You practiced your listening skills and followed a mystery from start to finish. You should feel very proud of yourself. Remember, this is how you learn step by step, story by story. I hope the secret of the old clock reminded you that curiosity and patience can lead to wonderful discoveries, both in stories and in your English learning journey. Every time you listen, you are uncovering a new part of the beautiful language that is English. Before we finish, I have a very small request for you. If you enjoyed this story and learned something today, please subscribe to the Easy English Podcast. By subscribing, you help us grow and you won't miss our next adventure. Also, click the like button below this video. It tells me that you enjoyed this episode and helps other English learners find us. And most importantly, I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below telling me one new English word you learned from today's story. Was it synchronize? Or remarkable? Or another word? Share your word treasure with me. It's a wonderful way to show you finished the episode and to practice what you learned. You are doing an incredible job. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep being curious. I'm James from the Easy English Podcast, signing off for now. I can't wait to continue this journey with you in our next episode. Bye for now!